What's up, Nerd Crew? Nurdie J here, and I'm feeling a little bit better since my last recording. So I was initially planning on coming out with a video, but that kind of went through, and I had another idea about re-editing a really old video that never came out. And I led off saying something on Hobbies with Jose about doing something like that in lieu of doing that. But the problem is that I don't have that file anymore, so I can't re-edit it. So with time running out, this is Thursday, and I'll be busy on Saturday and Sunday. So I only have today/tomorrow to do this. So today's going to be recording, tomorrow's going to be editing, then it'll be coming out. Just a little bit of background stuff. So without further ado, we are going to do a top 10 least favorite / weakest options for GoBots. I already did the top 10. Please check that out in the description below, or just search the Nurdie Boyz channel for it. It was my last video that I did, so it should be pretty easy. But without further ado, let's get started. Cue the intro. Just like my last intro that I did for the previous video, I'm doing my honorable mentions up front, and I'm limiting it down to 2. The first one is Renegade Stinger. Now, the thing is that I've never played with him, I never owned him, but I have seen the horrors of this figure because he is primarily, I want to say 95% gold plastic. And he just looks like he explodes if you look at him wrong. I had experience with gold plastic figures that is Randy from Beast Wars Neo, and so I kind of know what's going on there. And so I've been very hesitant to try and find this one to pick it up. But because of gold plastic, I'm not going to harsh on it too much because the design looks good. It looks like it's a good transformation, conversion scheme. It's just that, yeah, the only reason why it's here on the honorable mentions and not the actual list is because of the gold plastic. And for my other honorable mention is the Wendy's exclusive Guardian GoBot Guide Star. Now, I'm not going to include any of the Wendy's exclusive toys because I think that's just too much of a cheap shot. They are good for what they are. Just this one missed the mark, I felt like. I'm assuming that they were initially intending Guide Star to be like a 3 and under figure because it only has one transformation part. And if you look at the instructions, you only flip it up, pull down the legs, and there you go. Or push in the legs, flip it down, there you go. And so, yeah, it has no arms, no articulation, no nothing. And so I feel like it's the weakest offering from Wendy's themselves. But I think it's because of it's supposed to be a 3 and under toy, but they changed it at the last minute.
Number 10.
To start the list off proper, I am actually going to do one that's kind of a, I don't know, I feel like it's kind of on border of taboo for GoBots fans. And that would be Super Leader 1. For me, I just feel like it didn't do enough for it being a larger version of the original toy. Like, they retooled the chest, and they switched the only transformation thing that they switched was instead of rotating the back winglets and the in the back on the sides of his feet, instead of just rotating them, you just flip him back. And that's it. And I don't feel like it's done enough to grant a super GoBot for him. Like if they were to redo this back in the past, instead of just coming straight out with the blue version of Leader 1, they could have just introduced this transformation scheme and say that the blue one's the new standard, because they didn't change much. And so that's why it's number 10. It's a good figure. Otherwise, it's just, I feel like for transformation wise and for the bigness of it, it didn't do enough.
Number 9.
Next is an actual good figure, in my opinion. The biggest thing that's holding it back, and the reason why it's this low on the list, is it feels like you have to fuse like the arms under the wings to get the arms to be arms instead of intakes. The wings on mine don't like to stay up properly. And essentially if the back landing gear drops down in robot mode, it kind of makes him look like he's got nads. So, I'm not a big robot nad kind of person. I hated the Devastator from the live action movies because of that reason. Besides, he just turned into a dog that vacuumed things up. But the thing is that, the main reason why he's on this list is just because you have to fuse between the wings and arms just to get him in place.
Number 8.
This one is going to be for the Renegade Combiner Unit, Crossword. The thing is that I feel that Crossword is the weakest of the Puzzler team. He turns into a Porsche, don't get me wrong, it's cool, but it's orange, which is really weird. And the head makes him look kind of like a childish alien kind of thing. The legs don't really like to separate all that much. He doesn't have any real feet. And he doesn't stand very well either because the hand units are his heel spurs. Yeah, if it wasn't for the just overall robot mode aesthetic and the color choice, I'd probably rank him pretty much close to the yellow Lamborghini one. I'm not really sure what the name is. I'll figure it out later, but yeah, I still stand by Crossword's the weakest of the puzzlers.
Number 7.
Spacey. Unlike Super Spacey, which I think was one of the better figures in the line, if not one of the best, this figure, I don't know, I feel like they took the Conehead aesthetic that is like Dirge, Ramjet, and Thrust, and upped the game. Even though this came out way before them, I think like 2 years beforehand. But the thing is that, yeah, this is massive Conehead with really small face issue. Plus, the transformation conversion scheme is not the best or intuitive, because you have to rotate the cone to one side, bring out the arm, which the arms love to get stuck. Bring out an arm, rotate the head nose cone unit to the other side to release the other arm. And then you can put it straight. That's kind of like, yeah, it's just like splitting hairs on complication, but honestly, I don't find the transformation enjoyable.
Number 6.
Crane Brain, I think, has one of the big cardinal sins of the 80s. And unlike Copter and Psykill, among others, where their accessories, at least some of them, can be attached to the figure, yeah, Crane Brain's crane goes nowhere in robot mode. And the ones that people have shown online, yeah, it kind of looks phallic if you keep it in place. So, that, and also he has just enormous feet. They could have probably done something for the transformation to make it better looking. But yeah, just because of the phallicisms and that essentially he has that cardinal sin of no place to put his kibble in robot mode, so it just stands off to the side, and then if you lose it, he turns into a truck with no crane. So I don't know what you could have him do with that, but yeah, I just say that he's kind of just no.
Number 5.
Now, Dumper, I would say, has kind of the most basic of transformation schemes. You flip the legs over, you bring out the arms, you flip up the head. That's it. At least it's more than Guide Star, but at the same time, it's just so simplistic, and I don't know, I find it funny, immaturity funny, but at the same time, I really want to get myself a dumper eventually, so I could go around to friends and family and say, hey, look at my little dumper. But minus that, yeah, the name could be a lot better.
Number 4.
Boogeyman, I never really liked. I didn't like the name Boogeyman because he's not a man. He might be male, sure, but he's Gobatronian or Gobanite, whatever you want to call it. And the thing is that yeah, I don't think they might have male, female, but I don't think they have man, woman. And so I didn't like that name, but his transformation scheme is pretty much the same as Dumper, except for less. Because you don't flip up the head or anything, the head's just permanently there. And also, the buggy is just too retro looking. It does not update very well.
Number 3.
In this spot, I feel like it's well deserved, and that's Mr. Moto. Mr. Moto has a unique alt mode, granted, but what is going on with that robot mode? I love myself a little janky robot like Ironhide and Ratchet, but yeah, this is pushing it for me. His proportions are all off. He doesn't look like he transforms very well. And honestly, I don't understand why he is so expensive on the secondary market. He's like for hundreds of dollars, and I can't grasp why, just because of just how bad he looks. And so maybe he plays well, I don't know, but still for hundreds of dollars on the secondary market, I don't think so.
Number 2.
Scales is a very gimmicky robot, but if you call it a robot. Thing is that all you do is flip it up, and the spring-loaded head comes down, and it props itself on its wheels. And there's no articulation whatsoever. You can probably move the jaw. That's about it. And with mine, because of age and just the way it was brought up, because I got this on the secondary market for a really good price, yeah, the gimmick doesn't work all that well. So, but when you have it in alt mode, he looks pretty good. I don't know what kind of racer he's supposed to be, but he looks pretty good for what he is. But in the bot reptile mode, there's nothing to do with him except for roll him, and then that's it. You can't pose the arms, you can't have him look up. He's just kind of just there.
Number 1.
I think when you have a franchise that revolves around converting vehicles, animals, stuff like that, your biggest cardinal sin is to have a figure that doesn't convert. That's why Action Masters did so horribly. And the REMs are not doing good either. I think they actually ended it before Grimlock could ever come out. I was looking forward to Grimlock for the RED line. But that's not here or there. The thing is that Zod doesn't do a darn thing. You can't really pose him. You can't convert him. He's just on his 3 wheels. I think what he can do is maybe he can swing up by himself. But I think the reason why the tail is so big is that you actually got to flip him up onto his tail to begin with. And he can launch a missile. Yay. And you can't pose the arms. I'm not sure if the jaw can move up and down. The tail's not movable. Yeah, since he doesn't convert, that is the biggest draw to a GoBot or to a Transformer, and you're not providing that. Plus, this is a pretty big figure too, and to not have any of that gimmick in there really hurt this one for me. I hope you enjoyed this little rundown of what I consider the top 10 worst GoBots. Now, worst doesn't mean that I'm never going to own them or anything. In fact, I own most of them. The thing is that I just feel like these are the weakest offerings that they have to offer. Now, if you have your own opinion and what I should include for like a round 2 or whatever, please hit me in the comments and I'll read them, and then I will get and make a number 2 eventually. So, with that said, I've been Nurdie J for Nurdie Boyz, and I'll catch you next time.
Let